Fat people of Reddit, what's something about being fat that you have to experience to truly understand? Being buoyant is amazing. I can float vertically, body perpendicular to the water surface, with no movement, in fresh water, even. Easily my favorite fat perk. Agree. I don't think I could drown if I tried. And the look on my dive instructor's face when I got open water certified and he realized I need 18 pounds of weight on my belt for neutral buoyancy. Procrastination. I'll just wait until I lose some weight to apply for that job, ask that girl out, play football with my friends, go on vacation, etc. Sometimes I look at myself in the mirror thinking, wow, I look hot in this outfit when getting ready for a nice event. Then I see the pictures afterwards and all I see is how fat I actually look. Looks in mirror, man, I actually look somewhat decent today. Goes to take a selfie, never mind. When a skinnier friend is leading the way through a crowded bar restaurant, I get instant anxiety over being able to squeeze through the small gaps in chairs people she is squeezing through. Former 336 pounds guy here, currently 220 pounds. Feeling so self-conscious when going out for a meal. I want to order a salad and assume everyone is thinking OHH you're eating a salad. Why even bother, fatty? Or, I want burger and assume everyone is thinking OHH you're eating a burger. I guess that's why you're so fat, fatty. Previously fat, now at a healthy BMI range and feeling good. The hardest part of being overweight for me was always feeling like the biggest girl in the room. I was always afraid that my husband was embarrassed to be in public with me when everyone else has a prettier girl with them. People are also less friendly when you're overweight. Guys and girls both. Nobody is outright mean, they just don't seem that interested in talking to you. People are also less friendly when you're overweight. Guys and girls both. Nobody is outright mean, they just don't seem that interested in talking to you. Previously obese, currently a bit overweight. I have had this happen to me my whole life, yet I catch myself doing it too. I hate myself when I do it. Feels badman. At first you don't realize how much weight you are gaining. In your mind you still see yourself at the weight you once were. The constant self-conscious pulling of the shirt away from your body to make sure your shirt hasn't folded into your rolls. I still do this out of the fear that summer shat is gonna flick my man boobs even though I am almost 22. School wasn't fun. Chair anxiety. Having to check out every chair before sitting in it to make sure it's sturdy enough to support my weight. Also, even the most comfortable sofa will eventually feel hard as a rock if you sit still long enough. And don't get me started on metal bar stools. I broke one of those crappy white plastic lawn chairs on a bar balcony once. I know I have seen other much smaller people break those, but it was still me. I would have taken a quick death if offered at the time. I wish I was as fat as I was when I first thought I was fat. I think this constantly, but recently I realized that, as someone who lost a lot of weight and then gained it all back and then some, even when I was very close to an ideal weight for my size, I still felt the same about my body as I do now, and I'm 120 plus over. The subconscious act of putting something, book bag, jacket, etc., over your stomach when sitting down. Laughs uncomfortably through a series of flashbacks. How horrible summer is. If you grow up being fat, the bullying, I'm thin now, and it has helped a lot, but back then I literally would never say the word fat. I'd look for another word to express what I wanted, and if people ever used the word fat, even if it wasn't meant as body fat, I would instantly get anxious. My heartbeat would go up and I'd just shut up and pretend I wasn't there. The thought of they said fat, now they're all thinking about me and how fat I am stuck so hard in my head that even today, after 4 years of not being fat, I get a bit nervous. And I will never forget the first time I said the word fat. I remember thinking to myself there, I said it. Fat. Fat fat fat. It's okay. Nothing happened. Fat. Watching a movie or TV show with a bunch of people and a fat joke is made. That being fat is the first thing people judge you by and fearing that's about as far as it goes. Going out to eat and always having to request a table because you probably won't be able to fit in a booth. Just reading a thread on thin people problems yesterday, and booths got a hammering in that as well because they are generally designed for the larger frame so thin people have to lean over the gap to eat. Had a friend who said the shame of looking down elaborated with you would think the worst day is when you look down and can't see your dong anymore. Then a bit later you do it again and can't see your feet. The real reason why larger fat people wear braces, suspenders to our American friends, it is because if you belt your trouser correctly for walking around, then when you sit down, then it is too tight for and you are in pain. Or alternatively, if they are slacker for sitting, then when you walk around the belt rolls off your stomach and then your trousers fall down. Wearing braces eliminates that problem. Yep, I call this fat man physics. When standing up, your clothes can be almost baggy, but as soon as you sit down, everything bulges out and you are worried you might rip something. Former 20 stone bloke here. Body odor. It's not that you don't use spray and shower, it's a combination of the fact it's easier to sweat, and the fact that there are more places, weed, rolls, for the sweat to collect and hide away. Moobs are as uncomfy as frick when they bounce around. Going over speed bumps are the worst. The world is much larger because it's an ordeal to get places. Today I don't think anything of a 30-minute walk to the station, 90 minutes on the train and walking around the other end, but back then the walk would have knackered me, the train would have been uncomfortable as heck and I would have been dead walking around all day at the destination. Cubicle showers. I found it so hard to function in one, as my size meant there wasn't much room to do anything, and everything was so slippery as, well, it's a shower. I'm definitely not saying they need to be bigger, I'm not one of those people who demand the world be built to their size, but just saying, by the same token, chairs with armrests. Just want to toss out the 20 stone bloke would make an awesome band name. The futility of sucking in your stomach for photos. I lost weight and I still suck my stomach in, OMFG. For me as a child you were always kind of viewed with pity and disgust, like if someone farted they expected it was you or anything gross like that. People just always viewed you as gross because a lot of stereotypes about fat people and it has ingrained in me a sympathy for those who are pitted. Chub rub. That's when the fat on your inner thighs rub together when walking and gets chafed. To add on to this, having to buy a new pair of pants because the upper thigh crotch area has worn through from your thighs rubbing together. Lots of people have problems they have to struggle with, lifelong, difficult challenges. Obesity is no different, but it's public. Everyone can see your shame. It's so intensely private. Scrounging up the willpower to make change is a game to your life. And everyone can see. When the fat guy starts eating carrots for lunch, everyone knows. They say stuff, even encouraging stuff. It's still awful. You are struggling for your life and honestly, you will likely ultimately fail. It's like being naked in public. That people think you're stupid, incapable or somehow unable to have any talent. I draw for a living. I'm fat and rather ugly. I can't count the number of times people have admired the work around me, then asked me directly, me being the only one at the booth who did it. When I tell them it's all mine, they act like a miracle occurred, or like they just discovered some idiot savant. Someone who's fat obviously can't do anything other than eat, right? Ugly can only make ugly things too. Worse than that, if my booth is next to a pretty person, they'll look directly past me to them, then ask if all this, indicating their booth and mine, is theirs. It hurts a bit. This is something I will make sure I don't subconsciously do in the future. The constant and ultimately futile effort of trying out tricks to not look fat. It's exhausting and everyone still sees you at exactly the weight you are even if they have no opinion on it. Stripes make me look thin and no they don't. That color looks better on my figure. No it doesn't. Baggier black clothes hide my rolls. Nope. I only realized how much this took over my life after losing weight. I ended up losing 70 pounds over the last couple of years and that stuff is still massively ingrained in my brain. I still catch myself tucking in my shirt in the gym so no one sees that I'm hiding rolls. I still suck in my stomach in photos or position myself at the back of the group so my body is hidden. I even make self-deprecating jokes about my weight and then realize I sound like a dong because there's now people there that are bigger than me. I also still buy overly baggy t-shirts that don't even come close to my figure. The feeling you get when you're getting dressed for the day and start to realize that no matter what you wear you still look unattractive for society. It's like a sinking feeling and makes me not want to attempt to look good for that day. I feel like even if you smile at me, you're secretly wondering how much I weigh. When you're feeling insecure, you remember that you're also fat, so you feel fat and insecure, making you feel even worse. Flying on an airline is never comfortable, ever. Back pain. You have to be funny for people to like you. If you're serious at all, people are off-put. It's annoying how the fat guy can't be serious and has to be funny when the skinny guy can be both. I blame movies TV though. The fat guys are always the comic relief, and I feel it's now engraved in people's brains that's how it's needed to be. Never thought wiping my ass would be a hassle, but well, here we are. Body grows outward but arms don't grow longer to compensate. Just takes longer, but dang if it's not irritating. You sweat at the slightest provocation. You literally don't have to move at all. The wind might die down a little and someone will ask, are you okay, because you've started sweating. Exasperated sighs, because you've heard this from well-meaning people 100s of times, are not your friend. You get real quick at a polite smile, gentle shake of the head, I'm fine, thank you routine. Carry a hanky bandana something. Being short and fat makes clothes shopping an absolute nightmare. Nothing is really made for you. Being a gentleman, I hold open doors and allow people to pass by in theaters and shops and such. Seeing people grimace and turn around or find another way door because I'm fat and maybe a little too in the way is such a disheartening thing. Sexy time is lights off. No questions. I'm sorry love. It's not that I don't want you to see me. It's that I don't want to see me. There's more, a lot more, but these are the bits off the top of my head. 1. Stretch marks. 2. The constant hey, you're really fat now from family reunions. Like, yeah, I know I am. You don't have to bring it up like that's a new fact every freaking time you see me. I went running on the treadmill the other day. Humble brag. I did my first 5k YAY. I hit the emergency stop button with my belly. Congratulations on your first 5k. Okay, unique one here, but encountering smelly people. As a fat guy, I do twice as much maintenance to maintain my personal hygiene. Twice as much brushing, more deodorant, more thorough showers, etc. So if I just so happen to be standing next to a smelly, skinny guy, people always assume it's me. I can't blame them for assuming that. It's a reasonable deduction. Still frustrating though. Not being able to buy clothes on a whim. Having difficulty buying clothes at all. Walking down the street. Oh, look at that shirt in the window. It's a squirrel with a machine gun. I want it. Nope. They don't go above XL in that store. They don't go above XL in any store. Walmart will go up to 2X. But then it's Walmart clothes. I can spend hours digging through Goodwill Arc trying to find something. I can find one or two things at Walmart that aren't hideous and are well enough made to last more than a month. Or I can spend $60 for a single skirt from Lane Bryant. And with Lane Bryant, all their skirts and dresses are made for fat women that are also tall. I am not. Skirts that are pictured on a model as coming to their knees are mid-calf on me. So I can't buy pants or dresses or maxi skirts there. There's one cut-off skirt that will fit me. I just have to hope it stays in style. Those are literally my only options for buying clothes in person. Shopping being very embarrassing. At least for me. Female clothes are always super tight, and just generally being treated differently because of it. When I go out with my pretty friend and literally no one will even look at you because they all want to talk to the pretty one. Not just guys, girls ignore you too, and you spend the whole night alone and being ignored whenever you try to be social. As someone who has been very fat and lost most of it, my biggest realization was how differently people treat you. And it doesn't just pertain to the opposite sex. People in general are less friendly, talk to you less, give you less attention. Not that I think people have prejudices, but I think it could be a natural human reaction to be put off by overweight people. Coming to terms with the fact that there will never exist a flattering picture of yourself. Not all fat people have boobs to match their waist. If I buy a shirt in my size that is made to accentuate my breasts, I don't fill in the breast part. If I try on the same kind of shirt but one to fit my breasts, the waist is too small. I don't think that's a fat person problem. I think that's a not of average proportions problem. Like a person with this issue would still probably have the issue if they were a healthier weight. Former morbidly obese person, now just overweight, not fitting through spaces easily. You see that gap between tables in a restaurant? Yeah, I'm not going to fit through that. A cafe with chairs that have arms? Yeah, not going to be able to sit down there. And just the feeling that I'm always taking up space and getting in the way. When a lift stopped for being over the limit, I felt like all eyes were on me, and then just not realizing how bad it had gotten, just how big I really was. The perpetual state of always losing weight, eating salads all week for lunch, exercising regularly, and counting my calories. But then it all being undone in a single night, binge eating ice cream because of marijuana and depression. Then because you are depressed, you slowly go back to your old eating and exercising habits. You gain the weight back until the next time you get the motivation to try again. It sucks. I've been both thin and fat. I remember being told a lot that I should dress for my body. What people don't realize when they say crap like that, besides that it's extremely rude, is that finding clothes for fat bodies is so difficult. Not everyone is fat in the same way. Clothes for fat people are not more flattering than regular clothing. They're just bigger and more boxy. The other thing you hear a lot is crap like if you would stop drinking soda, eating cake, eating fried foods, etc., you would lose weight. Yeah, I had no idea. Thanks. Fat people know why they're fat. Some are trying to change that, some aren't. I was lucky enough to find something that worked for me that I was able to stick to. I lost the weight, but I was lucky. It's not as easy for some as it is for others, especially when you go to the gym and people stare at you while you work out. It really makes you not wanna freaking go in the first place. Knocking stuff off the counters with your fat ass and not even knowing it. That food can be just as much of an addiction as any form of drug can be. You can't just go for a run or do whatever exercise. You've got X amount of fat and not enough muscle to support the weight. It's gonna hurt and cause injuries. Also, the general immobility gets in the way. Just being fat makes it so much harder to actually do the things that would lead to you not being fat. Don't get me wrong. Most people understand you have to start small, but they don't realize just how small some people have to start. Exercise is obviously beneficial, but it's a mistake to focus on using it for weight loss. Diet is far more important. You can't outrun your fork. Save the exercise until you're near a normal weight and it will be less punishing and more rewarding. Being scared to lose weight because you think you'll get all that excess skin sticking around, especially around your upper body and glutes. You have been visited by the safety Stuart Little. Upvote in 16 seconds for 16 years of safe grinds. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day, you magnificent people.